Good day to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska and you are watching Poland Daily. And we continue with our philosophical discussions, doing a vivisection of Polish writers in the 20th century. And here with us, the topic of Stanisław Lem. Maria Kądzielski, thank you very much for coming to the studio.
Thank you.
And we talked in the previous episode about Stanisław Lem as a futurologist, so a person who has predicted the development of science, of technical thinking, of technology, and also predicted many problems which the humanity will face in this process which we are observing right now. You've talked about the latest achievement in China and Asia, which mixing species, which is already very difficult and highly definitely frightening and ethically questioned in a way, like where will it take us? And Stanisław Lem talked about those things and wrote about them already in the 50s, where no one thought such things might be possible, and definitely we're somewhere totally different. And we haven't seen technology might take us to such places in the world. And let's talk about his different ideas.
Well, exactly. Lem could predict the achievements like internet, like virtual reality, like genetic engineering. It was in the beginning of his, let's say, literary output, and also at the end. He had this late phase of creation, which is not attributable to every writer, every people who are creative. It happens very often that we have a short period in our life when we are creative. Lem managed to create and to analyze and to write very inventive essays almost until his death. And one of his late essays is very frightening. It's written in 1995 and it's entitled Sex Wars. It has nothing to do
with sex, unfortunately.
Yes,
because we cannot talk about such topics at Poland Daily.
What is the basis for his reasoning is that human population on planet Earth is growing exponentially. The astronomers, because these are the astronomers who deal with great numbers, so the astronomers provide for these calculations, and they calculated that in 2010, which is not very long from today, population of the planet Earth will exceed 50 billion.
2010 was already.
And in 2020, 500 billion. So it's hard to imagine physically.
When it was 2020, was
500 billion people. 2100, 50 billion.
So in 8 years.
In 8 years from now. 2200, 500 billion. So if we want to maintain our existence on planet Earth, they say we should send into space 10,000 people per hour.
To space.
Or to limit, maybe this is why Elon Musk says that he wants to send millions of humans from planet Earth to Mars. Or we should limit the fertility, I mean the population growth on zero level, which means 2 kids per pair, 2 kids per marriage. And it's not going to happen, and it's not happening. At the time when Lem wrote his essay, we could already see that this is a continent of Asia, where a human population is growing the most. And he predicted that there is no other way the population from Asia will spill out on other continents, because there is no other way they can manage. So they will spill out into Europe, into Africa, into both Americas. At the time, it was perceived as the masses of poor people who will flood the Western world.
But right now they are not any more poor.
Right now they are not poor, they are richer, they are more developed.
And they're also intellectually developed.
They are intellectually developed, so they will simply conquer. But still, the process pursuant to Lem is the same. So he predicts in this essay that we have to face an absolute nightmare, which is sex wars, when we, and he's talking about us, about people from the Western world, will have to stop this demographic hecatomba, let's say, to halten fertility of a human, of Homo sapiens as a species.
Which sounds frightening, of course, because
this sounds frightening. Lem predicted that we shall sooner or later attempt sterilization of entire continent of Asia, and he says openly, we will do this. That's no question that we will do this. The question is when and how. He was very much criticized, for instance, by Bishop Rzeczyński, Józef Rzeczyński, who was also a famous Polish philosopher. And Lem replied in polemic with him that he's not opting for this. He's just saying, he's just predicting that this is to happen no matter how frightening it is. Because this fades out by far any phenomenon of a Holocaust, for instance.
And we will
because
talk
this
about
involves
this more in the next episode, since Stanisław Lem, of course, is a very interesting author, a writer of Solaris, so probably with the title, which you should know, you could also watch the movie. And this essay, the Sex Wars, is not very known in the world, but definitely touching the topics which right now are most crucial and very, very modern. And thank you very much for watching Poland Daily.